This is KGW News at noon.
New at noon, police have arrested a man accused of setting a fire outside the home of Vancouver's mayor. His name is Aiden Michael Murray. A few hours ago, officers revealed they took him into custody late last night. Thank you for joining us. I'm Brenda Braxton. Now, police tell us that Murray faces a slew of charges related to the arson.
But we've been victims of crime before. This has just escalated up, and it might very well be something political. It might not be.
Officers say they connected Murray to the fire at the mayor's house Monday night after they took him into custody for an unrelated burglary. Ann McInerney-Ogle told us that somebody lit that fire near her garage. Her husband put out the flames, but the suspect got away. When we followed up with her, you heard what she said. The mayor said her house was also ransacked and burglarized on Sunday. The mayor was at a city council meeting at the time of the arson. Vancouver police and the fire marshal's office are investigating. Well, next year, Oregon renters could face a big increase. The state is allowing residential landlords to raise rent by 14.6%. That's the biggest hike since 2019, when Oregon instituted mandatory rent controls. To put that in perspective, the average rent for a one-bedroom in Portland is $1,500. If landlords apply the new rate, the cost would increase to just over $1,700. The change will go into effect January 1st. Railroad employees nationwide say they are prepared to go on strike this Friday. This morning, leaders of two major rail unions met with the labor secretary, but no word yet on any developments. If this strike happens, it'll impact lumber shipments and transporting other local commodities. Here's PSU marketing and business professor Tom Gilpatrick.
I think that there would be a bit of a lagged effect, but what you're going to see is you're going to see people, and I would suspect even now, transport and purchasing and pricing reflects the anticipation of a potential rail disruption.
So far, negotiations have failed to reach an agreement on things like sick leave and vacation time. The Biden administration says it's trying to find alternative methods to keep the most essential goods moving if the railroads stop operating. Warehouser workers in Oregon and Washington are on strike. These employees hit the picket line yesterday in Longview. The timber company employs 1,100 members of the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers. They say they walked out because of low pay and a high deductible health care plan.
We feel that we tried to bargain with the company, who is a major player in the land and timber industry. We asked that they make their workplace better for their employers, to maintain skilled labor and to actually be a leader in the industry.
Workers have been negotiating with Weyerhaeuser since April. This is the first time they've gone on strike in 36 years. Ridgefield schools are closed again today because of an ongoing teachers' strike. They walked out last Friday. The union wants more money for mental health support and special ed students. The district says it's doing the best it can within its budget constraints. Both sides did go back to the bargaining table at 10:30 this morning. We'll certainly bring you any updates on air and online when more information becomes available. Now to the latest on the Kalama fire near Mount St. Helens. Evacuation orders have been downgraded. Little bit of good news. People are returning home, but if conditions change, they need to be ready to leave again. The Kalama fire has already burned 112 acres. It's a similar situation for folks affected by the Cedar Creek fire in south central Oregon. Residents in West Fir and parts of Oak Ridge can return home now, but they may have to leave again. Crews have managed to build containment lines around part of this fire.
We'll just have to see what kind of weather that we get. Be as prepared as we can on 46, that if we need to burn out as the fire gets closer, or take some other tactics, that we're prepared to do so and have set ourselves up for the best chance of success.
So far, the Cedar Creek fire in Lane County has burned more than 92,000 acres. Well, this noon, there's new help for wildfire victims and others struggling with their mental health. This is the Aiden Emotional Wellness Center in Woodburn. It's the first of its kind in the area, offering fully bilingual and bicultural therapy. It opened last fall. Mental health providers traveled the state helping wildfire victims. They even handed out Chromebooks and internet hotspots so people could stay in touch remotely.
When you talked about, layers, right, being undocumented, poverty, and all these social determinants, right, and then you start adding COVID, wildfires, winter storms, access to vaccinations, and all of that.
Leaders at Aiden say they're helping clients overcome the cultural stigma surrounding mental health. They're also creating a pipeline of bilingual therapists to help meet the need. Well, we mentioned the wildfires, and Chris McGinnis is in for Rod today with a look at the air quality. The update, kind of a mixed bag depending on which side of the Cascades you're on.
Yeah, we're free and clear, I think, for the most part, west of the Cascades. The east side has still been dealing with, in some cases, some very thick wildfire smoke. We still maintain that air quality advisory for portions of central and eastern Oregon. That actually expires at noon today, so gradually decreasing with the wildfire smoke and particulate that has been plaguing that area for quite a while. You can see that on our map. Again, west of the Cascades, we're all green with the air quality indicators showing good air quality west of the mountains. But over across central Oregon, there's that red dot right around, Bend, showing unhealthy air even at this noon hour. So it's been taking a while, but the trend will be to continue to clear the air out even on that side of the Cascades as we roll through the next 12 to 24 hours. Meanwhile, the sky pretty gray here. It has been gray over downtown. It's gray at the beach right now. There's the live look from Cannon Beach. Our Stoller Vineyard camera showing a little bit of, a couple breaks in the clouds anyway. And over downtown Portland, there's one or two blue patches out there. It's 72 degrees last check at PDX. And Brenda, the plan for the rest of the day, it's going to take a while, but we do have decreasing clouds in our afternoon forecast with highs getting into the mid 70s. Time to start making some weekend plans. I've got your forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
Sounds good. Thank you, Chris. Here are some of your local headlines this noon. A huge loss of water rights for farmers and ranchers in southern Oregon. The U.S. Court of Appeals tossed out a lawsuit arguing the irrigators in the Klamath Basin cannot challenge federal agency decisions in court. The disputes over how the government manages water levels of Upper Klamath Lake has been going on for years. Not only is there a drought in the region, but the lake is home to the endangered suckerfish. There's also tribal water rights to protect. Now the group must decide if it'll seek another hearing or a petition to take this case to the Supreme Court. Local doctors saying we could see a nasty flu season this year, so they're asking everybody to get their flu shot. Kaiser Permanente expects a lot of flu activity in the coming months. That's because the U.S. typically mirrors what happens in the southern hemisphere. And right now, Australia, for example, is experiencing its worst flu season in 5 years. The virus is hitting kids the hardest because for the first time in a couple of years, they're not wearing masks. The folks at Kaiser also say that basic hygiene like washing your hands can help protect you from the flu. And remember, most folks can get their updated COVID booster at the same time as their flu shot. And finally, the Firefighters Union is making an endorsement in the Portland City Council race. The Oregonian reporting the union is backing Renee Gonzalez over incumbent City Commissioner Joanne Hardesty. Hardesty oversees the Fire Bureau. The president of the Portland Firefighters Association and the 14-person executive board voted unanimously to endorse Gonzalez. Hardesty and Gonzalez will be going head-to-head in a runoff this November. And those are some of your local headlines this noon.